Well, today we've got some bolt tightening to do. Let me show you where they're at and why. Stay with me. Welcome back, everybody. Look, you got to tighten the bolts on these tires, especially when the tractors are new. And the reason I'm doing this is because your bolts loosen up over time. And I'm way past when I should have done this, but at the same time, the tires on this tractor have been widened out, so the tires have been off and back on again, and they've been retorqued. So we're going to get into this, but I'm going to show you a few things that you need to know before you get started on torquing your bolts. One of those things is that most of the bolts on the end of the bolts, there's a number, and you need to look at that number. In this case, there's going to be on the bolts that are in the center here, it's going to be at a GS 8.8, that is. That's a metric bolt. The GS is no more than just the manufacturer, I believe. So this is the first part here. This GS is probably the manufacturer. The 8.8 is the hardness of the bolt. Now these are fine thread bolts, so you do have to have a different torque spec than you do on bolts that are not fine thread. Now the book is not as specific on this as I would like it to be. They give a range of what your torques should be on your tractor. Now remember, we're only talking about the MT573, and that's it. I'm not talking about any other tractor. I'm talking about the MT573. The torques I give you today are the torques that I found that are to be used on this tractor. You need to do your own research. If you're using it, you have a different tractor, look at these numbers on these bolts, and that way you kind of look up the torque specs for those bolts. Even though this has not been out in the field that long, I'm going to show you that these have loosened up a little bit and get you in there and see that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a wrench on here. Now, to do this really correctly, in my opinion, is you should loosen the bolt a little bit, then tighten it up, because that's really what you're looking for. You want that gradual tightening, not like the tire shop does it, where they go down there and they put your tires on with an impact wrench, and then they grab a torque wrench and they walk over there and they go beep 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 and they're done. That's not the way it works. It's not. They shouldn't do that. They should actually run that bolt up against that rim and then tighten it with a torque wrench. The tightening should be a smooth tightening until it clicks or until it beeps, depending on what type of torque wrench you have. So let me get in here. Let me see how tight one of these are real quick. Okay, that bolt started moving at 129 pounds. These particular bolts, there's a range on these from about 180 to 200, and I think it's 19. I don't have that number correct. You have to check your manual. But these started moving at 129 foot-pounds. So they need to be somewhere between 180 and 219-ish. Like I said, I may have that number off. I don't have the book out here with me. But it started turning at 129.9. Now, I'm going to take this up to 194 is where I'm going to go, because I looked at the specs on the bolts themselves. So let's go up to 194. We're at 170, 180, 194 right there. You see how much I moved that? I didn't loosen it. All I did was tighten it. Same thing here. Now these are studs here, but they're still the same. They're still going to be the same because the studs are the same as the bolts themselves on this particular one here. So let me see where it starts to move. Right there, it started moving. 139 is where that started moving at. Now, I actually stopped it when I got to 140, but I did see it at 139. If I can get you in there, I know that's upside down. We get you in there and look at that. 140 is where that stud started to move. Okay, I'm going to continue this to 194. We're not there yet. 188, right there. So if you know what size this is, in this case it's a 27, that will help tell you what your torque should be. These are 27 millimeter, and that should help you with your torque. Go around and make sure you didn't miss one. I missed that one. Just go all the way around. and make sure you didn't miss one. So we've got all the inner ones done on the hub, but now we have to do these. And these are the outside of your hub, that where you can move the distance of how far your tires are apart. These are 10.9, so they're a hardened bolt. They're coarse thread, but they have a smaller, they use a smaller nut. This is a 24 millimeter. Therefore, the torque on this is actually less than the torque was down here. So this is actually at 173 is where this is at. So we're going to set our torque wrench up to 173, and we're going to torque these. So I'm going to do my best to get you inside of here. Unfortunately, these bolts are on the inside, and they're very difficult to get to. And remember, they need to be set at 173. So let me get in here real quick and put this on a bolt here that we need to get to. All right, 173 right there. And it wasn't, I didn't even move that one. But you still need to check these. I just want to get you in here to show you where these are at. That's all. We need to do the front tires real quick. Again, I'm just going to check these outer ones since I'm already set up for that. It's 173 foot-pounds. These are the same. So that one didn't move at all. That one didn't move at all, and so forth. Actually pulled you in here because I started to tighten this when I was going to do this off camera, and as soon as I started, I saw that it just started to move, and I wanted you to see this, and that's one of the reasons you need to tighten your wheels up. So I'm going to pick it up here, and we're going to start tightening it. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the 36 pounds is where it started to move. 36 pounds, guys. That's not good. So we're going to take it all the way up to 194. That's where this one goes. That's 194 right there. Okay, this one started moving at 53 pounds. 53 pounds. That's not good. I'm going to have to come get back on this one. Remember, these are supposed to be at 194. One of the last things we need to talk about is maybe marking your bolts. Once you've torqued them, mark them so that you can see if it's moved or not. You don't have to have a huge mark, just a mark that lets you know that these bolts haven't moved. Okay, so you saw it. I tightened up all the lugs on these tires. This one here was not good. I mean, I started some of these lugs off, probably about 5 of them I started off, and they started moving around 36 foot-pounds. That's not good. I mean, they're supposed to be at 194. That could have been very catastrophic. I could have lost this tire out in the field while I'm doing either loader work or chiseling or disking or something. This tire could have been off in the field because I didn't check my lug nuts. Check your lug nuts. Look, you don't need a super expensive torque wrench. Get you a good one, though. Find something that works for you. You do need to have one that minimum goes up to 250 foot-pounds. This little adapter here only goes up to about 250 foot-pounds. It's half-inch. And remember, these bolts are different sizes on here, so they're going to be, I think the biggest bolt on here was 27 millimeter, and the smaller one was 24. Your torque specs are determined by the size of the bolt. They're determined by the thread and the hardness, and you need to consult your manual for that. On the MT573, these bolts on this one here, the specs I found were 194 on the center hub, 173 on the outer hub. Okay, do not just take my word for that. Check your manual, double check me. You know, I can be wrong. Look, if I had not checked these, I could have found myself with a tire off out in the field, front end laying on the ground, or a rear tire falling off on the ground, and then my rear end laying on the ground. That would have not have been a good thing at all. That would not have been a good thing. Don't let that happen to you. Take a few minutes out and check your lugs on your tires. Until next time, thanks.